Imagine humanity landing on a distant planet teeming with vibrant nature and an extraordinary civilization. The discoveries would last for centuries, almost like a dream come true. Interestingly, a similar scenario unfolded about 500 years ago when Europeans first arrived in South America. However, this is where metaphors fade, and reality takes over. The Amazon rainforest, spanning a colossal 5.5 million square kilometers, dwarfs even the surface area of the dwarf planet Ceres. Even after centuries of exploration, the Amazon's nature continues to astonish, with new species of animals and plants being constantly discovered. It's like stepping into another world, a living kaleidoscope of mysteries. Moreover, this dense wilderness holds remnants of ancient civilizations that challenge our imagination. Indigenous people from these civilizations still inhabit the forests today, avoiding contact with the outside world, as if they hold a secret about us, something unsettled that we are yet to discover. The quest for the mythical golden city of El Dorado once brought conquerors to this region. Perhaps El Dorado exists, and the indigenous people are carefully guarding it away from prying eyes. Our journey into the heart of the Amazon rainforest begins, a voyage to unravel its mysteries and, who knows, we might even find the elusive El Dorado. Deep within the Amazon, hidden from plain sight, lies something even more significant and mysterious than the famed Nazca lines. In 1980, in the state of Acre in western Brazil, human activities threatened the rainforest. Trees were felled not for timber, but to make way for agriculture, ironically connecting us to the ancient civilizations that once thrived here thousands of years ago. As deforestation progressed, workers encountered a strange and initially natural-looking obstacle. Yet, as they delved deeper, its artificial nature became evident, reminiscent of a jigsaw puzzle falling into place. Archaeologist Jennifer Watling from the University of São Paulo in Brazil led the investigation of this phenomenon, uncovering a series of strange trenches that appeared to have been meticulously dug by ancient hands long before the dense jungles grew. These trenches, later identified as geoglyphs, were part of larger, intricately shaped figures, some featuring geometric precision with circles, squares, rectangles, and their combinations. There was no doubt these were the creations of an ancient civilization. Similar geoglyphs surfaced throughout the region, numbering into the hundreds, with some larger and more substantial than the Nazca lines. These figures, etched with trenches up to 36 feet wide and 13 feet deep, displayed a level of engineering prowess that defied the passing of time. Dating back to different periods between the 1st and 15th centuries, these enigmatic geoglyphs have weathered generations of changing landscapes. The geoglyphs have served as time capsules, preserving the history of the Amazon rainforest, revealing its unexpected and surprising past. But the most pressing questions remain unanswered: who created these massive earthworks, and what was their purpose? Stay tuned as we uncover the answer to these captivating enigmas. Jenny Watling and her team conducted a study on soil samples taken from various geoglyph sites, excavating up to 5 feet, 1.5 meters, below the surface. Their primary interest was to analyze stable carbon isotopes in the soil, which could provide insights into the dominant vegetation types from thousands of years ago. Additionally, they sought phytoliths, which are microscopic plant remains that help identify specific ancient species. The surprising findings of their study were twofold. Firstly, the researchers discovered that bamboo had been thriving in the region for the past 6,000 years, indicating the ecosystem's resilience to climate change. This finding was unexpected because nearby Bolivia underwent a transformation into a savanna around 6,000 years ago, where large vegetation was scarce, and there were notably fewer trees. However, the area they studied exhibited abundant forests and bamboo growth. The second peculiarity they found was the coexistence of palm trees in the region for approximately 3,000 years. This finding was surprising because local palm tree species usually struggle to survive in competition with larger, long-living trees that overpower them with extensive root systems and overshadowing canopies. This observation was inconsistent with the notion of a savanna ecosystem, which should have dominated the area for millennia. The explanation for these discrepancies lies in the fact that people inhabited this region about 4,000 years ago. However, the ancient people did not intentionally plant trees. Instead, they periodically burned large areas of the forest intentionally. This seemingly irrational practice had a rational purpose. While large trees struggled to coexist with palms over time, palms grew rapidly and provided valuable food and building materials. Therefore, ancient people used forest fires as an agricultural technology to periodically reset tree populations, allowing palms to regrow quickly after each fire. The geoglyphs, mysterious earth structures found in the area, were not created overnight. People had been living in the region for about 2,000 years before constructing these strange objects. They grew crops like corn and squash near the geoglyph sites, but there was no evidence of permanent dwellings or villages. However, signs of ritual activities were found, such as pottery fragments and remains of ornaments. Although the purpose and meaning behind the geoglyphs remain a mystery, one possible explanation for their abandonment is that people left the area about 650 years ago. The reasons for their departure are not entirely clear, but it is known that indigenous populations in the Amazon basin faced significant challenges over the centuries due to European conquest, diseases, and assimilation. In Brazil, efforts to preserve and protect indigenous populations and their way of life have been made. The National Indian Foundation, FUNAI, is a government body responsible for determining and executing state policies concerning indigenous populations. In the 1980s, FUNAI established indigenous territories, which are reservations where tribes that refuse contact with the outside world can live undisturbed. One such territory is the Havari Valley, where several uncontacted tribes, including Marubos, Métis, and Kanamari, reside. The indigenous peoples living in these territories face a real danger of extinction due to threats such as diseases and illegal logging. The legend of El Dorado is another fascinating aspect of South American history. European seafarers encountered indigenous people who treated gold casually, leading them to believe that a city entirely made of gold, known as El Dorado, must exist. One of the rumors that fueled the legend was the initiation ceremony of the Muska Indians, who anointed their leader with coconut oil and gold dust, and then sent him out onto a raft in a lake filled with golden treasures. Many expeditions were made in search of El Dorado, but the city was never found. The most likely origin of the legend is a misunderstanding of the ceremonial ritual and the belief that there must be a city of gold somewhere. Today, Lake Guadavita in present-day Colombia is considered to be the location that inspired the El Dorado legend. In summary, Jenny Watling's study on soil samples at geoglyph sites shed light on the ancient practices of burning forests for agricultural purposes. The geoglyphs themselves remain an enigma, and the region's history includes both ancient civilizations and indigenous tribes that have faced challenges and attempts at preservation over the centuries. The legend of El Dorado, fueled by misconceptions and explorations, remains an enduring mystery of South American history.